Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. Prediction time. Tried to do this a little bit last year, and it needed to work out the kinks. So I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. There's no power rankings. Sorry, Aaron, you're doing your own YouTube thing. Kudos to you for joining in for about half the season last year, but I'm going to take the reins on this one. It'll just be nice and simple and sweet. I got playoff predictions. I have the final standings and a very complex method of how I pick the games. So let's go take a look at it. All right, so the very fun, super complex algorithm that I used was I literally just looked at the games and said, I think this team's going to win. There were some upsets that I picked to try and keep things a little even. There will be some upsets this year. I don't know if we'll get any huge money line shaking things, but there will be some upsets. With that being said, whatever you constitute as an upset, I don't necessarily consider Fishers upsetting Iowa as an upset. I know I just said it, but I don't really consider that, and nor do I consider Bay Area beating Vegas or San Diego beating San Antonio. Now, if it's, later in the season and a team like Northern Arizona upsets Vegas because they have two different records, that's a big thing, but that's kind of where we're at. So, without further ado, let's go take a look at the standings. All right, without further ado, standings are going to pop up, and I will explain myself a little bit. I've kind of done that in each team's preview. We'll kind of go full circle with everything here. Starting at the top with the Eastern Conference, and I think it will be a two-team race for the number one seed. It's going to come down between Jacksonville and Tulsa, in my opinion. Like I said in the Tulsa preview, it's pretty much Frisco's offense with Tulsa's defense. And if they can make the playoffs and not choke like Frisco was, apt to do, there's an opportunity that Tulsa could potentially make the Eastern Conference, I almost said West, the Eastern Conference championship game. Jacksonville looks to be on a revenge tour. I expect some big things out of them after kind of a disappointing season last year. Quad City gets in as the 3 seed. Like I said in their preview, they should be better, but I do think that the East just beats up on each other. Like Quad City beats Green Bay beats Massachusetts beats Quad City. They all end up getting these losses and things that go along those lines, which is why you see those records so similar. So I do think Quad City gets in as the number 3 seed at 8-8, and like I said, they could go 9-7, they can go 10-6, something along those lines. But right now I have them at 8-8, just for the benefit of I'm allowing myself a couple extra losses. So get your I told you so's ready when they get double-digit wins. I'm ready for it. Finally, I got Green Bay rounding out the Eastern Conference. They tie with Massachusetts, which Massachusetts has an all-right season. They missed the playoffs for the first time in their team's history in the Indoor Football League based on conference win percentage. Green Bay just scheduled one more game and ended up winning a couple more than they needed to. So with that, you've got your top 4 seeds: Jacksonville, Tulsa, Quad City, Green Bay, with Massachusetts, Fishers, and Iowa rounding out the East. There was a comment on the roster roundup for the Iowa Barnstormers where Coach Mogensen said that they're going with a pocket passer quarterback, dropping it to the bottom. I do not like pocket passer quarterbacks in this league. It works for some people when they have NFL draft picks like Nate Davis. It works when you have really good arm talent like Sam Castronova. When you have a rookie under center, I don't expect big things. They had Jonathan Bain a couple seasons ago, and those games were not good. So they're right there with Fishers. Good season for the Freight, 5-11. Not bad to start off your campaign. You win a couple games. At least that's what I gave you. Heading over to the West, Vegas, like I said, they are the team to beat in the league. IFL has them as the number 1 team in their power rankings. Bay Area, Arizona, San Antonio rounding out the playoff teams. Excuse me. And like you can see, Vegas kind of separates himself a little bit from the pack, but then from Bay Area down to San Diego, it's only off by a couple of games as you go down each team. So Arizona could fit right into San Antonio. They could fit right into Bay Area. Bay Area could play down to Arizona or play up to Vegas. It's kind of that thing for me. When you get down to the cutoff line, I do think San Antonio just has a little bit more firepower than San Diego right now, and I think they take that final spot. Otherwise, it's kind of like I've said in each team's preview, whether Vegas, Bay Area, Arizona, San Antonio, whatever, I think those are your 4 teams. They've kind of separated themselves a little bit from the pack. I do think Arizona does win their games that they have to win, in the sense of, like, they'll beat Tucson, they'll beat Northern Arizona, they'll beat Green Bay. Apologies. But, when it comes to some of these teams, and the same thing with like San Antonio, they will beat the teams that they need to, Tucson, Northern Arizona. They'll go back and forth with Tulsa, and they will have some of those wins that will have you scratching your head going, how did they win that? And then they'll have those losses where you're scratching your head going, how did they lose that? So I do think, for me, this is just how I kind of see things. I think it's not necessarily tiers, but what I see over here is I see clearly a 4-team race in the West. San Diego can make that case, especially if they catch fire late, and obviously injuries and all that stuff. But with that, Tucson finishes 5-11, 3-13 for Northern Arizona. Just not enough experience on that roster just yet. We'll see what happens, but they could surprise some people. Overall, like I said, nothing impacts the conference win percentage because everyone has a different record for the West, and that's how we just kind of leave it. So you have 4 teams with Vegas, Bay Area, Arizona, San Antonio, and then, like I said earlier, in the East, Jacksonville, Tulsa, Quad City, and Green Bay. So with that, let's go take a look at the bracket, who I have winning it, everything else when it comes to the championship. All right, so I'm going to break this up between the 2 conferences, and then we'll obviously crown a champion. So let's start off on the right-hand side with the Eastern Conference. East is on the right, West is on the left, and looking at a map, unless it's upside down. But like I said, we have our 4 teams, Jacksonville, Green Bay, and then Tulsa and Quad City. So Green Bay traveling to Jacksonville, Quad City traveling to Tulsa, and in the 1 versus 4 matchup, we have Jacksonville. I just think they just have too much firepower. Green Bay makes a valiant effort. Jacksonville, though, at home, crowd ruckus, their first playoff berth in IFL history, and it's not that long ago they've won championships, so crowd will be in it. I think Green Bay has a little bit of a culture shock. It's over, On to the 2 versus 3, Tulsa versus Quad City. And it's going chalk. I have Tulsa winning this one. Like I said, I think it gets, those guys from Frisco, they've learned from their mistakes. They have licked their wounds. I think that's another first-round exit for Quad City, unfortunately. But I think Tulsa is just too good right now. They are a little bit of your Cinderella when it comes to that, i.e. your San Diego from last year, or some of those teams that you just did not expect to advance to your conference championship. Jacksonville and Tulsa in Jacksonville for a chance to go to the national championship game in Tucson, and it's the Sharks. I had the Sharks here last year, and the jinx probably worked, but I am putting them here as well. I think they have really learned their lesson from last year, and all the haters and losers like myself can just eat crow. They're going to a championship. Over to the West. 1 versus 4 matchup, Vegas versus San Antonio, and Vegas has the victory. I think Jerome Johnson has a little bit more of an MVP for performance. He might not take it home this year, but he has that caliber. We've seen the talent that Jerome Johnson has. I think they get it done. Kudos to San Antonio for making the playoffs, but better luck next year. Finally, the 2v3 matchup between Bay Area and Arizona, and I don't doubt Kevin Guy. I don't. So he takes the victory. He beats Bay Area. It could be on another 2-point conversion. I have no idea. However, I do think Arizona just has a little bit more firepower than Bay Area. There's just something that they do where they just get hot at the right time. When they make the playoffs, they go on the run. This one's no different. They make the Western Conference Championship, but the revenge is best served cold. Vegas takes it. Vegas takes it. They get revenge from last year's 2-point conversion, and they head to Tucson to take on the Jacksonville Sharks. And it shouldn't be any surprise. 1 versus 1, East versus West. They already met before in this season. Vegas takes the championship in Tucson. Jerome Johnson is your championship game MVP. And the Vegas Nighthawks have claimed a championship, much like their parent club in the Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL. So that's what I have this season. Am I wrong? Am I right? I know I'm right. You can tell me I'm right. It's all right. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's what I have right now. I think there's going to be a couple of upsets, but no, I mean upsets. I mean like Tulsa advancing. I don't know if anyone expects Tulsa to go to the Eastern Conference Championship or even have them as the 2 seed. Same thing, Arizona. Not necessarily an upset, but 3-2. Yeah, I guess it's an upset. So that's what we have. I got the Vegas Nighthawks taking the victory in Tucson against the Jacksonville Sharks. They just return so much talent. And for Mike Davis to get a championship too, that'd be great. So that's where we leave it. I think Vegas takes the victory. So let's go wrap everything up and get out of here. And that is it. Yeah, like I said, just a fun little video for playoff previews, predictions, just something to know that we are ever so close to that first kickoff in the Indoor Football League. I know other leagues have already kicked off, and there's been some turmoil and things like that. So I'm hoping that the Indoor Football League can put all of the stupid Indoor Football Network stuff behind them. And if you want to watch, you want to watch. Cool. If you don't have to pay the money. Whatever works. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but yeah, those are my predictions. Those are my final standings. I will try and be as humble as I can when all of those predictions and all of those standings and everything like that, become correct. I will not say I told you so. Someone might. I won't. I'm kidding. No, it's fun. Like I said, it's fun to predict this stuff and talk a little trash every once in a while, but that's what I have. It won't be right. I know it won't. I'm stupid. You're smart. I'm stupid. But that's where we're at. I'm going to call it there. I'm going to leave you guys with all that, and just a couple days away from dropping that week 1 Friday preview between Jacksonville and Massachusetts, Quad City and Green Bay, and then the standalone Saturday game between Tulsa and San Antonio. So it is right here. We are going to get 25-man rosters hopefully sometime soon, whenever all the cuts and everything go through, and we are just itching for it, man. At least I am. I don't know if you guys are, but if you haven't and you want to pay for it, pay the $30, get the Indoor Football Network. I will advocate for it. Indoor Football Network people, if you are watching this, pin your tweets, post about it more. Tell your teams to post about it more. Your stuff is buried like 3 or 4 tweets down from the freaking like training camp videos, and while those are fine and dandy to be like, hey, these players are practicing, pin your tweet. Promote your stuff. Let people know that they can watch this, because we are 3 days away from this kicking off, and you have not heard a peep since they launched it. Sorry. I will advocate and stand on the soapbox for you if you're not going to do it, and give you the free advertising. So if you don't want to do it, pin your tweet, go pay the $30. If you don't, no skin off my nose, no skin off their nose. I'm not trying to sound like a bad guy when I say that, but that being said, pay the $30 if you want. It's a great sport. All of these are great sports. AF1, NAL, whatever you guys want to watch it. No judgment here. With that being said, taking off here. Love, appreciate every single one of you. 3 days. 3 days away from kickoff. I am excited. I know you guys are too. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Love and appreciate every single one of you guys. See ya.